the Italian Football Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Italian Football Podcast. I'm Carlo Garganese, joined as always by Nima Tavallaey. Today, Nima and myself are delighted to be joined by Liverpool legend Mark Lawrenson, who was one of the best defenders of his generation and a key part of the legendary Liverpool team of the 1980s, and later a very successful broadcaster as well. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Let's get straight into it.
Hi Mark, this is Nima. Thanks again for joining us. So, two famous games your Liverpool team played against Italian teams. Both were in the European Cup final. Let's start with the 1984 European Cup final against Roma in Rome, which you guys won on penalties. What are your best memories of beating that great Roma team?
The best memories on the night was a massive, excuse my French, piss up that we had after win, because obviously we were second favourite, playing at home. I think there was massive banners around the ground that they'd already won, which obviously turned us on greatly. So the whole experience of the 2 or 3 days was just magnificent, to be honest with you. And after the game, I mean, 7 hills of Rome and all that kind of thing, and we went up in our bus, in the coach, I should say, and we were in a someone's house, I think it was, on one of the obviously the 7 things of Rome, and we just got slaughtered.
Is that because I saw one report talking about a big party in a mafia-like mansion? Is that the one you're referring to?
On where you drive up and up and up and up, all like that all the time until eventually you come to the top. Yeah, and I just remember we were sponsored by Crown Paint. And the CEO from Crown Paints just said, you know, blah, 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 great win, all those kind of things. And he said, you can drink until you drop. And he said, and that can be the best champagne in the world if you want. So we managed to drink it.
Yeah, that was great memories. Was that one of the best games of your career? Because I've watched that game. That was actually the day I was born. The night I was born, that night, by the way, Mark. Was that one of your best performances?
Jesus, you're making me feel old. The night you... Yeah, because I think the thing about it was that we were playing away, weren't we? And everything was stacked against us. I mean, Joe Fagan was great at the lunchtime of the game. I think he'd had, I think UEFA had been on saying no celebrations if you score and all that kind of stuff. And Joe just went, he said, okay, no celebrations if we score. He said, but you know what? When we score the third one, you can celebrate all night long if you want. So, yeah, it was a great day. I mean, we all have fantastic memories of it as well. So
that's good. Well, not so good memories a year later, of course, when you played again in the final against Juventus on one of football's darkest days, that the Heysel Disaster, when 39 fans lost their lives. I mean, you experienced the horrors of that night probably more than any others, because you were taken to hospital with an injured shoulder, and you kind of witnessed all the death and the carnage around you, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. And I was whisked off to the hospital. Excuse me, my shoulder came out again. So the guy in the hospital put it back in. He knocked me out to put it back in, to be fair. And when I woke up, and I counted this, I was in a ward on my own, and there were, including my own, there was 24 beds, and at the bottom of my bed was an army guy with the biggest gun I've ever seen in my life. And of course, I wasn't great under anaesthetic anyway. And when I woke up, it was like, what the hell was this? And the army guy, for want of a better description, didn't speak any English. Anyway, he managed to get a nurse to come in, and she was kind of saying, "Do you understand what's happened? Blah, 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 blah," all those kind of things. Yes, all those kind of things. And then probably, and this could only have happened in the 80s. In the morning, obviously, they said, "Oh, you can go." Excuse me, you can go back and join the team before you fly off. And I said, "Well, I would, but they've taken my clothes off me. They took all my kit off, my boots, and I just had like a small pair of knickers, for want of a better description." And I just said to them, "I've got no clothes." And they said, "Oh no, it's okay. Mr. Evans is going to come and bring you some clothes." Obviously, Roy Evans, and he turned up with my then girlfriend at the time. And he came into the room, and he had a tracksuit. And I went, "Evo, that's a Liverpool tracksuit. We've got to go through the hospital and obviously the dead and the dying and families were there and all sorts of things like that. And he said, Mark, he said, don't worry, we'll turn it inside out. Honestly, you couldn't write it, could you? And in the end, we were in one of the lifts, obviously, that only the staff could go in. So unfortunately, we didn't bump into anybody.
Yeah, that's an incredible story. I mean, looking back now, I mean, it seems crazy looking back now. I mean, as players, how did you feel being told that you had to go out and play that game?
Well, we went mad at the chief of police, and he said, "You're playing," and we said, "No, we're not. We're not playing." And then he said, "Look," he said, "I wouldn't be playing." He said, "And I understand, excuse me, why you don't want to play." He said, "But I'm responsible for everybody. If I now go and make an announcement on the tannoy and say that the game's off," he said, "I would be responsible for everything that happened." And so many people were obviously extremely upset, and one thing and another, that it was actually probably the right reason to call it off, but it just didn't feel like a football game, did it? It was mad. It was absolutely totally mad.
Number of your fellow Liverpool players, they all moved to the Serie A. Saunas moved to Sampdoria, Rush, Juve. Did you ever get any offers to play in the Serie A, and would you have liked to play there?
The last question, I'd have loved to have played. Yes, I did get an offer. I knew nothing about it. So very briefly, we got back home, and I got called into the pre-season, called into the chief exec's office, and he said, "We're going to give you a new contract." I'd only done about 6 months of a 4-year one, and I never really thought anything about it. I thought, "Oh, they must think I'm brilliant. How good is this?" Anyway, and so I did that. It wasn't difficult in terms of the money and everything. It was very, very good. And then about 3 months into the season, we were going to a game somewhere. I can't remember what it was. And one of the backroom staff said, "They wanted you, you know." And I said, "What are you on about?" He said, "They wanted you to go with Rushy." And I went, "What?" He said, "Yeah, they wanted you to go to Juventus with Rushy." He said,
"Wow,
would you have gone?" And I went, "Christ, of course I would have gone." And so obviously that never really happened, and didn't have an agent or anything. It wasn't like their agent would say, "Well, hold on a minute, let's have a sniff around, see if anybody else wants him." But quite clever from Liverpool's point of view.
Another Serie A legend that you played with, Liam Brady, you played together for the Ireland national team. Just how special was he?
Liam could play walking ball. But even in those days, you'd never get the ball off him. He was a superb passer, and left-footed and left-sided players in those days, there weren't that many, and they already stuck out anyway. But with Liam, the game was so easy for him. His only problem in terms of playing for Ireland was that obviously Jack Charlton didn't really have a place for him in the team, which was unfortunate. But he was anyone who played with Liam will tell you he was a top player. He played in 2 places, wasn't he? In Italy,
I think more than 2. Juventus, Inter, Sampdoria, Ascoli. Yeah, I mean, he's a legend in Serie A.
Didn't he get shunted out at the first one for Platini?
That's right. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he won them the league. He scored the penalty that won them the league, and then they shunted him out. Just as we're running out of time, so just a couple of very quick questions. Chiesa to Liverpool. What do you think? A good signing for Liverpool?
If he can stay fit, absolutely. But I mean, he's injured now, isn't he?
I think he's got a slight problem apparently. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, slight problem in inverted commas. He's a player. He's quick, and if he can get his form back, most definitely, and he'll put people under pressure for the team, which is good.
And finally, Calafiori, the Italian defender that joined Arsenal. Have you seen much of him? Do you like him?
I've only seen him on the telly. I mean, he's playing left-sided at the moment, I think, isn't he?
Yeah. But
with him, he'll get in the middle when one of the 2 of the lads are injured, and he'll probably stay there. No, I like him. I think he's very, very good, and they've done well there with taking him, most definitely. That might be for Arsenal to win the league,
Yeah, I think so.
Could be, yeah. I've got them winning the league anyway this season. Just some quick fire questions before we finish off. Just a 1-word answer if you want. Best ever teammate in your career?
Hansen.
Toughest ever opponent?
Graham Sharp.
Wow.
Best central defender in the world today.
Oh, it's Liverpool's best central defender. Well,
Van Dijk, I take it.
Yeah. If you could sign any Italian to play for Liverpool other than Chiesa, who would you sign?
is it Barella, the midfield player?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And who do you think will win the Serie A this season? Inter, Milan, Juventus, Napoli, or shock win Atalanta?
Inter.
Nice one. I'm an Interista. And finally, the most important question I think we've asked you: pineapple on pizza, food heaven or food hell?
Food hell, because I just have pizza.
Thank you. That's the right answer, in my opinion.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much, Mark, for joining us. It was a great pleasure. Everyone else will be back later in the week for the Q&A pod. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Ciao, ciao.